The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more, yes, I'm in, instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox, asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more, yes, I'm in, instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox, asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. There's a story I want to tell you and get off my chest today that I think is going to be so perfect, and it's going to serve you on a lot of deep levels. And also show that I too am human here. Hello. I think like a lot of time, most recently there was like this Instagram trend that was going around, and I'm 45 years old. I don't get on the TikToks right now, but I was on the Instagrams, and there was this trend that went around that was called like social media is fake. And it was about how people were hiding the ways they were making themselves feel, behind the scenes and showing the highlight reel and things like that. And, I really want this to be a real podcast that shows you like my journey as I go, and where I can help, share my things that I'm afraid to share that are, make me a little vulnerable and, makes the perfectionist inside me scream with like horror, because it's like, why are you telling anybody that? It's going to make you look like a dumbass. And while I'm perfectly fine looking like a dumbass dressed in spandex as Barbie and dislocating my knee on a Halloween night, when it comes to the way I'm projected online or just in business as a whole, and it's like your reputation and stuff like that, I have the same insecurities that most people do, especially as a high performer, as somebody who identifies as, wanting peak performance and wanting to be efficient and wanting to make a lot of money and have a lot of success. And I feel like all of these quests my whole life, and all of the stories that I heard growing up around, like, don't share that because that's going to make you, what are people going to think? Lower your voice, stop yelling about what you're upset about. What are people going to think about us? And there came a moment like about a month and a half ago. I'm currently recording this in mid-May, on May 15th. And I know it's not going to air till the end of June, because I just spent like a couple hours like going through my podcast episodes and batching some and, putting them up. Because yes, I do all of this myself. I would love to have a VA that can help me. But again, like here, you have probably, if you're listening right now very closely, you're hearing several different limiting thoughts or blocks or, very consistent things that are like really consistent with reasons why high performers burn out, right? You're hearing me say, I just batched all my podcast episodes and I really like it. And one day I'd love to have a podcast person to do that for me. But, I feel like this is just faster to do it like this. And so it's not, it's totally not like, it's totally not faster, but I'm enjoying it today. And I don't know, I just want to like share things real time with you, because I feel like I haven't been doing that as much as as would be helpful. And I want this to be like a truly uncensored podcast. I know my Topless Manifestor podcast was the same way, where I was like really uncensored and raw and like telling you how it is. And, revealing some of the shit that I've gone through and that I've worked my way through as well. So anyway, I feel like I go on these tangents, and let me get back on track. So I just spent like the last couple hours organizing all these podcast episodes, and basically anything that you've listened to from like 6 episodes up until today when this one dropped. That's what I've been doing today. Look at that. It's like Cassie from the past is coming back to see you today. And by now I would have gone on my trip to Greece and Italy, and we've made it back and we're doing great. Whoopsie, I just dropped my pen. Anyway, I wanted to come on here though and share a story about, and I kind of alluded to it in a recent episode that dropped before this one, around a part of my life that I was hiding. And I was hiding it for a few different reasons. One reason was shame. Another reason was fear of like looking like devaluing myself, and or not, not being credible, which is fucking crazy because when I tell you this story, it's obviously the opposite. Also, there was this fear of not being seen as enough of an expert, or not being good enough. Not being good enough is really at the base of a lot of the reasons why we sabotage ourselves or we don't show up completely as ourselves. And so I'm just going to speak for myself today and tell you get the inside track on me. And I hope this can help you. I'm not just here to talk about myself just to talk about myself, because I have a whole lot of other shit I need to be doing. But this is an important thing that I feel like can help you sell better and be more visible online as well. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, maybe I should be doing this on a live stream, but I'll probably just tell the story again on a live stream. Anyway, so as you might know, if you're new to the podcast, and you might not know, I started my career in pharmaceuticals in 2000, and I came straight out of college at Virginia Tech, go Hokies, and went right into a job selling an oncology product for Johnson & Johnson. And I was there for about 10 years before really, to be honest, I got fired from a job in 2010 because the manager did not like me. She hated me. She did not like people who came from pharma. And I had moved out of pharma and into a laboratory equipment position with a group that was with J&J that's no longer there. And the woman that I worked for was an absolute bitch on wheels. And I say that with love. I'm trying to. And here, let me get my evil eye spray out. I'm going to spray myself with this shit. Shout out to Jess and Helena in Colorado Springs who sent me this evil eye spray. I love you. I mean it. And I'm just going to accept that today. And anyway, it's real time. So that experience, I really had PTSD from the start of working with this part of the company. I basically was with J&J for 10 years. 8 years, I blew up my sales results. I had $10 million years, $12 million years, $14 million years. I became a sales trainer, went into another division, had $5 and $6 and $7 million years. I grew my territories out the water, out the wazoo, and was very well respected. And I went through a divorce midway in between all of that. And I started partying a lot because I didn't really know how to handle the stress of divorce and, paying out a lot of money to my ex-husband at the age of 26. I paid $80,000 for this wedding. For this, not wedding. I didn't pay that. I paid $5,000 for the wedding, but I paid to get out of it. Oh my God. And, maybe I'll make an episode about that. Let's just not make it about him. And when I was in Atlanta, I had bought a condo. I love my condo where I lived in Midtown Atlanta, Plaza Midtown. It was so much fun. It was two of the most interesting and fun years of my life. However, especially compared to the prior 4 when I was married. But however, I found myself like in the cycle of partying a lot. And I'd always, I didn't think that was ever going to end if I just stayed in Atlanta. I felt like that was going to be it, and it didn't feel fulfilling. So I decided to move to San Diego, and that's when I worked for the capital equipment. I sold capital equipment. So I sold big laboratory analyzers that were worth like $250,000 to the huge hospital systems in San Diego and Palm Springs. Beautiful territory. Hated the job. Although still, I did well at the job. I did well as I could be, because what they didn't tell me before taking the territory is that literally half of my territory's business came from a huge hospital system called Sharp. And they had decided right before I took the job, or right before I interviewed for it, they decided to go with a competitor's products, which meant they were like going to rip out all of our equipment and start using the competitor. I mean, this is like $10 million worth. I think it was like the whole contract was like $11 million. Yeah. So in the 2 years that I was in this job, I actually did a really great job to keep them continuing to use our stuff for that long, even though they had decided 2 years prior to make a change. They didn't make a change while I was there. They still kept pushing it off. But anyway, this woman came on after my manager got fired. She absolutely hated me. And it was a very hard, anxiety-ridden experience that I didn't know how to handle. And like when I left that job, it took me a long time to get back on my feet. And I had definitely had some trauma from that, but I didn't know about trauma. I thought trauma was like stuff that you went through if you had like sexual trauma, stuff like that. I really didn't understand the like impact of it at that age. And even not even until recently, to be honest, did I realize exactly how much like trauma I have been through in my life, that I just kind of pushed through and felt like, okay, I can be stronger than that. I'm just going to move through it. There's nothing I can do, whatever. Not realizing that all of these memories were stuck in my body and that they actually have been affecting me in some way, shape, or form for years, since I was like 7 years old. And now I'm, having to, with adrenal burnout, having to, get my body back healthy again, which is interesting and a fun process, right? Anyway, so I'm telling you that to tell you this. So there is all these moments. And yes, I did make it back into pharma. I did make it into jobs. I did really well in them because like pharmaceuticals is my sweet spot. That's where like I could do the freaking job in my sleep. I know what to do. I know what to say. I know how to do it. I know where to go. I know how to get my numbers up. I know how to, stay under the radar. I know how to do a really shitty job too. Like I've done all of them and I've made it through it. And I've ended up on top like every single time. Or getting out of it what I wanted to get out of it every single time. And when I decided to stay home with my kids after getting laid off, because I've actually been laid off 4 times, meaning the company decided to let the whole sales force go. That's happened to me. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times, maybe 3. I know with my husband, it's happened a couple times too. Like we've been through it. And yeah, that causes trauma too, doesn't it? But recently, like when I decided to stay home with my kids after getting laid off in like 2000 or end of 1999, I went straight full into my business. And so when taking my success from the corporate world into my business, it honestly, being a high performer for that long, I had such huge expectations. I have that tendency to look at what other people are doing and compare myself, because that's what I've been like ingrained to do my whole life. I've been like, you have to be the best. You have to get better grades than those people. You have to be number one. Our district needs to be at the top because, and if you're not at the top of our district, if you're dragging us down, like the weak link has to go. And so I've always had high expectations, and I brought these into my business. And so, as you know, a lot of your biggest, you might not know, you might not be aware of it, but when you're adding strategy and you're adding your genius to your business and working all the time and not getting the results that you think you need to be at by now, there are memories and emotions and things stuck in your body, traumas that are stuck in your body, rejections, fears of failure, the times you didn't get picked, for, cheerleading, or the times you fucked up in front of a whole group of people and they made fun of you, or time you got your period in your pants and people saw it. Like anytime you were like rejected and, and people made a big deal or made fun of you for it. As a high performer, all of these things, maybe you were an athlete and you went through a slump and the newspapers said something about it, or your parents, everybody was talking, or you fucked up and you, got too drunk and yelled at your family, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about you, or you didn't get the medicine in 2000 that everybody wanted you to get. And so now you went through that black sheep time. So anytime you were rejected or you felt that pain and you felt like it was directed at you and that you weren't enough, all of those moments are stuck in your body. And when they're stuck in your body, they're going to affect your sales, because your brain is going to associate all of the, and you don't consciously do this. You don't consciously say, oh, well, this launch is going shitty because I wasn't picked to be a cheerleader when I was 14 years old. No. But your subconscious tries to look for memories that are similar, or situations that are dangerous and similar to it that might lead in you feeling pain, and tell you, no, you can't do that. Nope, that's not going to be good. And then sabotage you and throw a freaking stick in the spoke of your bicycle and make you fall on your face, hoping that that's going to be better than you actually breaking through, getting to the other side and being successful. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because in my career in pharmaceuticals and in sales for 24 years, especially, being super successful and then coming online and having, my business be not anywhere near the money I was making before, especially, considering I worked and I was very successful in the pharmaceutical side, and having kids to juggle and having all of this, plus the traumas I was carrying around and the pressure I was putting on myself, all of this was like, these are all things happening in the background. And so it's all telling me these stories of you're not enough, or you need to do better, or you should be there by now, which are all convenient distractions from the vision, which is bigger than anything you could even imagine that you could ever create. And about a year ago, I remember my husband had been unemployed for about 6 months, and my business towards the tail end of the year before, I'm trying to think back, I think that's right when I was transitioning into being a sales coach. My business was not bringing in a lot of money because I really didn't know. I didn't believe in myself. I felt like it was like the typical, I need to have all the answers first before leaping. I was investing in myself and joining containers and putting content out and signing clients here and there, but it wasn't nearly where I wanted it to be, right? I was having launches where, I had a membership and I had a bunch of people join my membership, but I really ended up launching more higher ticket offers last year. And in the spring of last year, though, my husband was looking for a job one day, and he started talking about virtual because he was unemployed for almost a year. It was very, very, very hard and stressful on us. And when he was unemployed, occasionally we would talk about the type of jobs he's interviewing for. And one of them was a virtual sales job, and it was a pharmaceutical one. And I was like, wait, what? What is this? I didn't even realize that exists. And he And so I was like, fuck, I could do that in my sleep. I'm sitting at my computer anyway. I mean, what's the difference? Why don't I just go ahead and I'm going to apply for it? Literally within a week, I got an interview, I got hired. And when I started the job, it was the easiest money that I had made in years. Let me tell you. And I felt so great about it. Like I could support my family. It was like consistent because at the time my business was very up and down. Like I launched a program the year before for like 6 months and had nobody join. I've put a lot of work into, it was a huge slump the year before. Like a huge slump. I had a lot of really fabulous people reaching out and coming into my world. But I mean, it was not paying the bills. And thank God we had like sold a house that same year or the year before, and made like a lot of money off the house, and because that helped us, make it through and, give our kids a good life and still take them to do experiences and stuff like that. But having this sales position was so easy. It was so fun. I loved the product. I actually interviewed for an in-person job. I was actually like considering taking like a rep job where I would go out every day and go make sales and, drive around and then have my business running too. Like I loved it that much. But I never told anybody online about it. I was so ashamed to say like, oh my God, I can't figure out how to bring this money in through my business. It's not working for me consistently, even though I know what I'm talking about and I can help you. You know what I mean? I can help others, but I felt like a big old fraud. I felt like, this wasn't going to be a good thing to share, And then I just... Over the course of the year, like what happened was the company that we were selling like doing business development. The product hadn't been released yet. So like you can't call in and talk about a product that isn't approved because, you could get in a lot of trouble with the FDA. So basically my job was to reach out to a lot of these offices, establish communications with them, understand how they were currently treating their patients. I couldn't mention any product at all. So it was like fully compliant, like with healthcare compliance, if you're familiar with that. But I, at the same time, we were hearing about this product that was about to be released. It was going to be such a fun product. But September came, and when September rolled around, they did not get approved. The FDA said that they wanted more clinical studies done, which was a big bummer because they actually expected approval in June, which pushed it back to September. And then September came, and it was like one day we had this job and the next day we didn't. And so because I had been a team leader, I actually was like leading a team of 7 people on this contract. And which was fun, right? Like I love that. I was also doing my business on the side. And, at night, that's when I was staying up like really, really late at night because I didn't want to like have it consume all the time with my kids. And, we were still being able to go on vacations. I could make my own schedule. And I really loved that part of it. But when the contract ended, I ended up getting on a second one, and that one just doesn't feel the same to me. It's, one day I it's just not, it doesn't make me happy to be on it. I don't, it's a much different feeling than how I felt on the previous one. And so for that reason, this is where this episode actually starts, because yesterday on my Insta stories, I decided to share about how on Monday I had a fuck this shit moment. And I realized like, this is really not in alignment for me anymore. And I need to either speak up or do something about it, or make a plan or change something. Like something has to change because this is not acceptable. It doesn't feel good. My body is telling me like, this is not good to continue to do this. And, at the same time, I have a family and I have kids to take care of, and we have a mortgage and all of these things. And my husband's job is, I don't want to have to rely on him being employed all the time. I want to be able to, like have that be the cherry on top and have the universe just be so on our side and God on our side with what's delivered. And I feel like I need to follow my own intuitive nudges. So this is where I'm actually like, I was so afraid to share this because I didn't want you to think that, oh, why is she out having a job if she's a sales coach? Can't she sell for herself? And the truth is, yeah, I absolutely can. I started this job though with, with the goal to have fun and support my family with like a stable, amount coming in every single month. Because at the time my income was not stable with my job. And thank God I ended up getting on another contract, because when I dislocated my knee, I literally did not have the bandwidth to be doing all the things. And that's when I found out that I was burning out and that I had burned out completely. Like I literally ran my body into the ground with all of this. So I'm so thankful that I never got the job that would have had me going out to drive around all the time with all of that kind of stress, and that I didn't, I'm so thankful for so many pieces of this that did not fall into place. And now I'm turning to my own breath work to help me get the intuitive actions for running my business and launching the most aligned programs that feel good, like Breathe Your Way to Millions. I actually, when this is airing, I would have just wrapped up that launch, and we're starting in on, I think, like week 2, depending on, this will be week 2 of the live breathwork sessions that we're doing. And I'm so incredibly pumped about this because this is something everybody can use. And I can't wait to share more about that on here. But the thing is that I actually came to the realization that having this sales job really does add more credibility to what I'm doing. Like I'm actually selling every day, and I'm actually selling for other people every day, but also selling for myself too. And I can show how easily to get through setbacks and like anytime I'm lacking confidence or I don't know what to do, and really embodied in this whole sense of, using the big sales breath work for what it's intended to reconnect me when I'm in these moments where I'm like, fuck this shit. I can't do this. I'm being disrespected. This person's being rude to me. I don't like this at all. I need to do something else. And instead of doing what I would have done before, which is, like pop off or freak out or just, want to quit or say something that I regret later. Hello, I'm a Virgo. Have I met you? Instead of doing that or freak out on my kids. Like actually, the thing is like I've been trained so much to not take it out on the people who are actually dishing it to me. The ones that would, like in this situation from Monday, I was severely disrespected by somebody I have to, work with very closely, and who is, basically has a lot of power. And I didn't like it at all. It did not sit well with me. And my inclination was to just quit, because that's really what I'd like to do. That's my goal. And it's interesting because the breath work, when I did the breath work later, the message wasn't, because I did it. I did the fuck this shit breath work from my mentor. And I do hers, and I'm doing my own too. And when I did it, the message wasn't quit. And I was like wondering why. I was like, this is interesting. I wonder why. And the message came through that it was like, here's what to do instead. Here are the things to focus on instead. And it was all like business related things, like things that actual pieces of strategy that I can take today and I can implement today that will help me sign clients at a higher rate than before and help me make sales easier than ever before. And it's like magic, because these were not the things my fucking pissed off brain on Monday wasn't focused on these types of things specifically in those pissed off moments. But when I got it to calm down and I got my body to calm down and I released the parts of my body that were saying, fuck this is bullshit, and you hate this, you've been treated like this at some level all your life and you don't stand for it. Like my hands were shaking in that moment. And to be honest, I had a similar moment this morning with the same exact person, and my hands started shaking again. And I know that that's not healthy, right? That's not healthy for somebody who wants to get adrenals back under control. It's not healthy to be around people like this. So I'm taking the steps now through breath work to give me the answers to then get out of this situation in a way that won't cause more stress to me. Because honestly, being in this situation is stressful. But if I were to say, fuck this, I quit, then that's a huge chunk of change that my family can't depend on right away. And yes, I know the universe and God always provides, but also, that's why you need to turn to your intuition. And when I did the breath work and my intuition said, do these things instead of quitting, the message was like, use this job as a venture capitalist to fund your life while you take these steps and you seriously take them. Because here's the thing, here's the big takeaway. I can get those messages all day long to say, here's the exact type of content. It was black and white, like what kind of content to do. And I have not been doing this type. I have not been publishing this type. And this message came in loud and clear about exactly what to create. If I don't create it and I sit on it, then my results are going to stay the same. But if I go and I create this content and I check this off and I put it out there, you watch. This is going to be the thing that gets people excited about my work, signing into my offers, reaching out in the DMs and saying, I have to work with you because this is for me. This is absolutely for me. I can't ignore it anymore. And it's going to be the thing that feels the easiest for me. So I want you to sit there and think, if your sales too have been inconsistent, and if you're sitting there frustrated and saying, I should be better, I should be there by now, and if you are working with clients that are not aligned, but that are a big part of your monthly recurring revenue, and it doesn't, it's, you may have a situation like mine where you have kids to feed, and maybe not. Maybe you've got a freaking, Porsche to pay for. I don't fucking know. And it doesn't matter. It just matters like, what's it for you? But you ask yourself, like, would it be amazing to be able to get these types of answers specifically for you, for your strategy to take? So there's no questioning what to do. And it's like pretty laid out there in black and white, the exact steps to take, that you're not just following somebody else's arbitrary steps. You're following your own, from your own intuition that knows and that's connected to your vision and is like, okay, push the garbage out, destroy and uncreate the garbage. Let's lean with, your intuition is connected to pure alignment. And it's like a gift giving you that path to most allowance and fulfillment, right? So I am so excited that like my skeleton is out of the closet about having a sales job. And at least like you have seriously been getting sales advice from an actual current salesperson and from an online business owner who knows the ups and downs and everything in between about, sales and selling online and selling in person and dealing with people and dealing with struggles and dealing with complexity. Like my life is complex. I have 2 kids. I've got a business. I have a job to do every day. We're going on vacation to Greece, in a couple weeks. You would have seen that by now on my Insta stories. I'm excited for that. But I just want you to know that if I can do it, you can do it. And if you're currently feeling drained or tired or wanting to burn your business down, know that it doesn't have to be that way. We just need to connect you with the clarity of your vision again, connect you with the power of your intuition. And you do that through the power of your breath and getting those breakthroughs specifically through big sales breath work. So with that, I invite you to come join me in the Breathe Your Way to Millions program. I also have some other ways to work with me if that is not right for you at the moment. But this is where it's at. This is what I'm going to be yelling and preaching from the rooftops. I can't stress it enough. No pun intended. All right. But I hope this message found you doing well and that it lands for you in some way, shape, or form. And I want you to know that whatever you're afraid of, like, your most alignment is on the other end of pushing through that fear, and not just like pushing through like from a hustly point, but moving through the things and making that fear just dissolve. Okay? Like dissolving the fear, shrinking it so you can see it for what it is, maybe stepping over it and into the life you really want to live. And the amount of sales and tripling your sales and not comparing yourself on the internet and being the one that people want to buy from and follow and look up to and, look for when they sign up into Instagram every day and they're looking for your bubble. Imagine 1,000 people are looking at your Instagram bubble tomorrow. Like, wouldn't that be freaking crazy and amazing? Right? All right. I love you so much. I hope this message found you at the place that it needed to land. And I invite you to share this episode with 10 of your friends so that they can also, get something out of it. So they can also see that where you are right now doesn't have to be a scary place, and that you can absolutely 100% turn the ship around and, start to have the amount of sales that you really want to be having and make the money that you want to be making in your business without burning yourself the fuck out all the time. Okay? All right. I look forward to hearing what you think of this episode, and I will talk with you soon. If you loved this episode of I'm Not Salesy, then go ahead and hit subscribe so that you're notified of the next episode. And also leave a 5-star rating and a review. And if you send it to the link in the show notes, we will send you a present in return. We also love to feature reviews on the podcast as well. So we'd love to feature yours. So go ahead and send a screenshot to the inbox and come find me on social media. I love hearing what you're up to and how you're becoming not salesy too. I'll see you in the next episode.